Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic fans board. Basil sitting watching Super Scoreboard for for your gossip. Kidding. Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic fans view. And there's been a lot of transfer speculation today, but the biggest one would be this guy, Kyogo Furiashi. Is Kyogo Furiashi really the answer at Celtic? And there goes the poll question for tonight. I should have had this one up earlier, but should we? Is he the answer? Look at the stats. These stats don't lie for themselves. I mean, when he was at Celtic, before he came to Celtic, he scored a few goals when he came to Celtic. Scored quite a few goals. Prolific for a season and a half, going into 2024, and then 24-25 season kind of dropped off. Still managed 32 appearances in just over half a season at Celtic. He then went to Rennes, did nothing for half a season. He then went to Birmingham and has done nothing. Is Kyogo Furiashi the answer? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the poll question tonight. Is Kyogo Is Kyogo the answer for Celtic? Easy question, yes or no. Tell me what you think about the poll, and tell me what you think in the comments section, because there was a journalist today, the Sun News reporter Robert Grieve is the source of the Kyogo Furiashi Celtic story. He released it at 11:20 a.m. this morning. Do you believe a Sun newspaper reporter? For saying that that Kyogo is the answer. Really? What happened to Celtic going forward? I mean, at this stage, if Kyogo is the answer, why don't we just keep going backwards? Why don't we bring back Adam Ida? It's a serious question. We sold Adam Ida at a loss. Why don't we bring back Adam Ida? Because he offers us something different in front of goals, and he can put the ball back in the back. He can put the ball in the back of the net. It's going to be interesting to see how this poll goes. It's got 144 votes already. Whoopah! Straight off the bat. Straight off the bat, we've got 147, 150 votes within seconds of this one going up, and the fans are split at it. Now, his market valuation is around about £10 million for Kyogo Furiashi. Do you think that he is the answer? Tell me in the comments. I'm going to need to try and see where we can put the comment. Let me just do this first of all. There we go. I'll just rearrange the comments to maybe about there. That's not going to work, is it? Never thought this one through, did we? Just have to go there just now. People make mistakes. Maybe he'd be humble coming back. Let's face it. If he started to go scoring again, we'd love it. This is the man that wanted the way for Celtic. This is the man that downed tools at Celtic. This is the man who didn't look interested at Celtic, but all of a sudden he's the messiah. I thought that going forward as a football club, we'd be looking at progression. Bringing back Martin O'Neill is one thing, but bringing back all your exes is another one completely. Surely there's some. But don't give this Kyogo stuff any oxygen. That's a load of nonsense. Birmingham manager has even said so. Move on. Nothing to see. It was a story that I was going to run this afternoon, but I kind of got caught up with time this afternoon, and then I had a video conference call to make sure that this stuff was all working. And as you can see, it will have the next two matches. So this will be the new sort of format. And if there's any players that we want to look into, we can pull up the stats of the player. Get Kyogo in tonight. We need a striker. He's proven. But we need another, in my opinion. Lyndon Dykes would do better. take him at the end of the season. There is a super chat coming. I need to sort out the super chat thing as well. Um, Let me just get that coming in. Stream looks great, Baz. Got you on the big screen in the supporters pub. We are live in the supporters pub in Oslo once again. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love it. It's madness. It's like I'm on big telly in pub. Man, thank you for the super chat, mate. But anyway, we are kicking on. 75% Kyogo is better than Johnny Kenny. Mm. We need two strikers. Phone's on my nose trying to read it. The phone's on my. Well, maybe if you've got glasses and you're on your phone, would you turn your phone sideways so you've got the big screen? Um, but that I'll have taken notice. Wait till I get to our producer. Um, this is why we do test lives. This is why we do test lives, and we run software so that you can try see it. But anyway, let's get set. I've said a million times we need to get the Motherwell striker in. We need a striker that can score in the SPFL. The SPL is the SPFL now, despite wanting away. Maybe he regrets it. No, I don't think that he does regret it. I don't think that he should regret it, and we shouldn't bring him back. Let's look at what's worked bringing back. Don't break into song in songs, as much as I'd love to. Super chat from John the truck driving legend. Even all fellow gods people just booked a holiday to Lucida tonight. Short term, get through to the end of the season. But I mean, the signing is I've got you on a 50-inch screen. Hey, it's not 3D, is it? Jesus God, I bet it's not even worth thinking about. Being on the 15 screen, but I will see if we can get this text updated live. If he's still here, starts on news. Make it bigger. No, the text, not the stats. Can you increase it? I take it you're not watching. Can you increase the font? And then we'll get that sorted out. But anyway, this is the man you said was the best park striker. Apart, I have never said that Kyogo was Furiashi was the best striker for Henrik. You, Alex Todd, go back the videos and pull up a video of me saying that Kyogo Furiashi was the best man since Henrik. He's also the man that downed tools. There'll be loads of videos saying that. So stop trying to do my job and play devil's advocate. Celtic replacing Kyogo with Kyogo. Only Celtic could do that. Yes, I'd take Kyogo, but we need him too. He was shite at the end and was shite when he left, so he's not good enough. And the stats don't lie. The stats up there just do not lie at all. Let me just see if I need to edit. Is that increased? I'm not too sure. Let's just lock that in there. Perfect. Right. Yeah, that's increased slightly. Anyway, you shouldn't be watching on your phone. Get on the big screen. He was shite when he left Celtic. Callum Wilson's too much of a gamble, far too injury prone. Exactly, he wanted away. We all love you here, Baz. Loving it up in Oslo. It has to be one of the best Celtic supporters bars in Europe. Is it the top? Is it the top Celtic supporters bar in Europe? And I mean that purely in a geographical sense. Before I get slated, I did mean that in purely a geographical sense. That it is the top, could say the top Celtic supporters club in Europe. In a geographical sense, of course. We need 7 more wingers before Kyogo. That's a bit tongue in cheek. Said we should go for Kyogo. Baz wants to go for Lee Griffiths. Did be as well bringing back Lee Griffiths. I'm sure Lee Griffiths could probably score more goals than Kyogo. Just saying. Um, I wouldn't want either back, to be honest. I think that if Celtic are going to go forward, we're in danger at this point of completely capitulating as a club and stagnating beyond all reasonable doubt. We are going backwards. We are going backwards at a Colin McRae doing a handbrake turn couldn't go backwards as quick as we've gone backwards as a club. If we start bringing back Kyogo Furiashi, if it's all about getting the band back together, you know, and they're all walking on stage with their crutches, we're going to leave the next manager with a total conundrum of what the hell's going on here. He's going to have to, and we leave the summer window as a rebuild. Not only do we leave the summer window as a rebuild, we put any potential Champions League, Europa League qualification in doubt. Straight away, straight off the bat. Ange Postecoglou could not come in, and given all the time he was given in pre-season, he could not get us to the Champions League. Could not get us to the promised land. Too early for him. How do we then expect a manager to come in and have to replace strikers, lone player here, lone player there? You know, people. Yes, some players will come back fit. Some players will come back fit, i.e. Cameron Carter-Vickers, and the manager might go, mate, I've looked at your track record. You've not had one clean season at Celtic in 5 years where you've been injury free. I need someone I can rely on. First time Kyogo goes down with his shoulder, if he comes back, I'll say, I told you so. That's why we bought Adam Ida for £9 million. Because Kyogo went down with his shoulder. The question is does Kyogo Furiashi really want to come back to the rough and tumble of Scottish football? Maybe that should be the question in the poll. 1 goal in 18 months is hardly worth discussing. If Kyogo Furiashi never had Celtic FC on any of these stats, people would be calling us absolutely crazy to go for a striker that was on that kind of form. What on earth would you would be looking at the Celtic hierarchy and go, sack the board, sack the board, sack the board. The manager's a dud. But because it's Martin O'Neill, it's fine. I don't believe for 1 minute that Martin O'Neill is good. He's not a Martin O'Neill type striker. He could not lace Henrik Larsson's boots, and there's not one video that I said that he was the best thing since Henrik Larsson. I think that Kyogo never scored the amount of goals that Lee Griffiths scored, and he didn't have anything that a certain Frenchman at the club had in years. But it is all part of the game, as they say. Kyogo or Kenny, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for either then, isn't it? Am I still banned? Brown Warrior, you're always banned. Baz, we're short term at the moment. Is League, Champions League and 40 million at stake? Ian, if you bring in Kyogo Furiashi till the end of the season, we do not qualify for the Champions League. We need to bring in a striker now that will see us through into the Champions League qualification, that knows the club inside out by then, that knows the manager. We're going to have a new manager in the summer. Everything's up in the air again. As much as you want Martin O'Neill to succeed in winning the league and winning the cup, he's not care what happens at the end of the season. He doesn't care what happens in the summer. He knows that Celtic will go out and they will source another manager that will be linked with the club and come in, and he'll wish the manager best, all the best. He will not have time to sit down with the manager because come the end of May, Martin O'Neill will say sayonara along with a lot of the other Japanese players, and then there'll be a void. There'll be nobody at Lennox Town, apart from the greenkeepers and you know anybody else that's kicking about. Managers go on holiday, players go on holiday. We're then left with the hierarchy of the club to bring in a manager, bring back some of the staff to Celtic. Fozzie will be gone because he will only be contracted until Martin O'Neill is here. So Fozzie will have gone. You'll have Sean Maloney that will go back to his pathway job, get some time off in the holidays. You're then going to have a new manager to come in and go, well, what happened last season? Who do I speak to? And you're going to put that on Gavin Strachan. The £40 million is already at stake. The £40 million has to be addressed. The possibility of getting to the Champions League has to be just even winning the league. Never mind the Champions League. We shouldn't even be focusing or thinking about. It's disrespectful for us as fans to Hearts and at this moment Rangers Football Club, because both those clubs are above us in the league. It's disrespectful for us to even be speaking about Championship qualification at this stage. If we finish second, yes, we can talk about it. If we finish first, yes, we can talk about it. But any talk is Champions League, we have forgone the right as a club, as a support, to automatically talk about Champions League football and the need for us to qualify for it. Because right now we've got a fight on our hands and we need to fight to win to qualify for it. And even then, we're not going to qualify for it. We need to go through rounds. We need a manager that can come in and do something that's never been done at Celtic for a long time. And that's qualify through the Champions League through playing qualification matches. The first manager that comes in and does that will be hailed a living legend at Celtic Park. He will be hailed a living legend. Mark my words. The first manager comes in, takes us through 2 qualification rounds, gets us to qualify, will be the best thing since sliced bread. And I don't like sliced bread because it's got too much additives in it and E numbers and shit like that. But anyway, we need to really just focus on the league. And focusing, Kyogo hasn't played in 18 months. Yeah, and those stats don't lie. Focusing on bringing in a striker like Kyogo. Kyogo might not want to come back. I mean, why Kyogo went, no, look, mate, I wanted out of that club. I wanted away from them. Do you know, I spent 10 months there longer than I really wanted to. I told them after a transfer window that I wanted to. Why would I want to go back? Do you know, it's only players like Jota that realise the error of their ways, that were lured by big cash. Do you know, there have been other players over the years that have said it was the wrong thing to leave Celtic, but they've never been given open arms to duly come back to Celtic. Players generally don't get a second chance to come back to Celtic. Jota was a kind of no-brainer, but even now, the fact that he's been out injured for the majority of this season, that's a big question mark on was it the right thing to do to bring Jota back. Jota's got a long way to go to prove to the fans again that he can be the player that he was the first time round. He's got a couple of years in his contract that will allow him the grace of God to do that kind of thing. But Kyogo Furuhashi comes in and doesn't score a goal in the first 5 games. On the 6th game, Kyogo gets a raging tackle from a 6'5" defender off the ball, scuds him on the shoulder. Kyogo goes down, and there we go. And there's Kyogo. There he is. way down holding his shoulder. Oh, poor wee me. Get up. We just need a goal scorer. We do need a goal scorer, but our board are really pathetic. Yes, they are that. And if the board are too much like that, someone says there's too much info on the screen. Welcome to 2026 YouTube. But I'll take that on board. I mean, we can get rid of the player stats. This is only for during the window, where we will be looking at players who we've been linked with. And Kyogo Furiashi is today's player that we've been linked with, hence the reason that Kyogo is all on the screen with all his stats. But thank you, Pat, for your words of wisdom. Too much info on the screen. The only way Kyogo works if we bring in other strikers, other number ones. Conversations with Maida went like this. See you off. See you later. I'm off. I think that Kyogo coming back is not the be all and end all. I think that we need to move on for Kyogo. We were linked with strikers that were far better than Kyogo Furiashi, and I think that even they have went on to not be the superstar strikers that they thought they were going to be. If you look at the guy that left Brøndby, people are saying that we got off an absolute an easy one with that. Super chat from John, the truck driving legend. He says, "We want another striker. You should be controversial. How about Mr. Domehead Shankland? If not, unfortunately, he's going to cost 10 million. Shankland, nah, not John, the truck driving legend. As much as you're a truck driving legend, Shankland is a no-go, I would say, personally. But I do love the comments. You would think that Martin would be against these types of signings. I would think so. I think that Martin O'Neill ultimately would be against those type of signings because it's not a. I just moved the screen. How did that happen? What was that? Trying to move this. He's not a John Hartson or a Chris Sutton. Do you know? I know it's different days and it's a bygone era that Chris Sutton and John Hartson were at Celtic. I mean, he landed with Henrik Larsson already on the plate. Martin O'Neill didn't have to go searching for Henrik Larsson. Henrik Larsson was served up to him on a silver platter of here is God. Here is the King of Kings to you, Martin. Do whatever will whatever. Just get him a big tall striker to knock the ball down to him, and you've got a goal machine in house. We don't have that. We don't have. Kyogo would get bullied all over Scottish football. I'm sorry. I just think he would get completely bullied all over the place. Kyogo will be given better service than Birmingham. What about Rennes then? Rennes that absolutely humiliated Celtic in the Europa in 2019. I know, I was there. I was in France. I was in Rennes, a beautiful little town. I think is it a town or is it a city? I think it's just a town. Rennes is beautiful. You can imagine playing football there. One of the crazy things that I loved about going to Rennes away in Europe was outside the stadium, the main road that drives down. They close the road completely down. They close it, boom, and they set up these charcoal barbecues for you to buy barbecued food outside the ground. There's only one pub outside the ground, but you can buy beers and you can walk about. It's all very civilised. Something that looks nothing like cold Celtic Park on a cold December night in the Champions League, it has to be said. And it has a river running down the back of the stadium. It was lovely, I have to say. Rennes was a beautiful place. We were just rubbish. And we got our totties in Rennes. But, Kyogo would get better service than Birmingham. Rennes, on the other hand, needs a bit of work, maybe. There's a couple of super chats come in. Danny Cassie is in the house with 2 super chats, looks like. I must have pressed the button twice. So thank you for that, Danny Cassie. Hope you've had a good holiday, mate. Rangers spending 7 million on a left back and centre mid. Hearts improving Their two glaring weak areas, right back and right wing back, and we are bringing back an ex-player on a loan deal. How to cheer the people up in the comment section, Stephen. You're always a great contributor. Um, I would take Kyogo ahead of Kenny, but we need to sign a striker who can bang. Are we? Buzz in the comments was past you a wee bit. Yeah, just a wee bit, Gav boy. I mean, there's 608 comments. There is absolutely no chance that I'm going to get through 608 comments. Apologies. It's just not going to happen. Um, let's leave Kyogo. We have running a poll. Is Kyogo the answer? It's had 485 votes now. And the fans are split down the middle. Completely down the middle. There is 45% for yes and 55% for no. It's like a Scottish independence referendum vote that was slightly rigged. Don't talk about that one. But yeah, 491 votes now, which is good because we've had 1,900 people on live already in just such a short time, 26 minutes. It's fantastic news. But is Kyogo Furious a serious question? Is he the answer? I don't think so. I take Stevie Wonder as striker just now. 'Cause I just called to say I love you. And I mean it from the bottom of my. That would piss off Rod Stewart, wouldn't it? That would definitely piss off Rod Stewart. Get get Stevie Wonder in on stage at Celtic Park. Right, apologies. I'm going to jump right away to the end of the comments. Apologies for not reading out. Jesus, what a load of comments, huh? Baz will read the comments if we start talking about him. Hey, there you go, Sligo boy. Have I not banned you yet, just for the pure banter? Usually do that. 55% are numpties. We have more reunions than the Stone Roses. Yes, we do, don't we? But yeah, thank you, John. Keep that one. Keep that one as well. Um, the, the poll is rigged. Well, there's been 510 votes. Has slowed down a little bit, and it's 45 to 55%. 45% say yes, Kyogo is the answer. Who are these people? And 55% say no. Apparently, the lights are on at Celtic Park tonight. Seen it on Facebook. And that doesn't really mean anything, does it? Does it really mean anything? I don't know. Kyogo could score every day and he still wouldn't get in the Japan team. Yep. And he could also go down to. Don't say that. We're going back too many times. Yes, we are that. Baz, get you in goal. I'd be slower than Schmeichel. Just saying. And plus, I'm a tad older than him. And yeah, Milk's new truffle biscuits. I've probably had far too many milky new truffle biscuits to be in goal for Celtic. I admit that. It's Christmas time. Um, Danny Cassie says that we're going to win the league. Kyogo will surprise anyone, but he needs to strengthen up to Mulligan. We need a tall. Yeah, we need it. Mikey Johnson's coming back. Yeah, that's all we needed. Is yeah, down with the crown. I'm up for that. Stevie's better than seeing that text. I'm going to screenshot and send that to the Mr. Producer Man, so that he knows what people are talking about. 2 seconds. It's done. Can you refresh it? I'll refresh it right now. I have to refresh again. Um, Let me just refresh this again and see. He is watching live, which is good. There we go. Is that increased? So wait till it changes to the next one. But it does look as if it has increased. Yeah, it's definitely increased. That should be better. But if we do need to increase it again, we may have to increase it again. Stevie's better than seen the text. Very superstitious. Don't start singing. Don't start singing Stevie Wonder songs, for goodness sake. Um, I'm going to go through. Right, let's get on to the next topic of questions tonight, because Croatia number one, Lajkovic, was heavily linked with Celtic back in June, just after Joe Hart had hung up his gloves. He has been linked with Celtic again, but that comes with a little bit of, is he really the answer for Celtic? Dominic Lajkovic, the Celtic transfer, re-emerges as the goalkeeper that was linked with a move to Celtic Park in the summer. Get a Messi on loan deal. He's past it. It wouldn't surprise me for that one. We'll come back to that in a minute. When you look at the fact that Lajkovic was linked with Celtic in the summer, he's poised to quit Fenerbahce, with his former club Dynamo Zagreb leading the race for the player. It's interesting that he's been released already. He was heavily linked with Celtic in 2024 after Joe Hart. He then moved clubs. He's then been put. Was he not put out on loan? 30-year-old, and he was farmed out to Girona. He was farmed out to Girona on loan, and he could not get a game for Girona. Would he be the? He's never coming. Celtic are not going to spend the money on that kind of money on a keeper. I mean, it was, there was talk about 6 million, 5 million for him. There is no way that Celtic are going to spend that kind of money on a goalkeeper. So I think with that one we can just put that to bed and say that it is not true whatsoever. Just a lot of people still talk about Wilfred Nancy, aren't they? Just anything, anybody and anything that has anything that has ever played in Scottish football are now all having their oh, interesting. Now, if you remember, before Wilfred Nancy got sacked, Martinez, as Nathan has said, and the seen reports that Roberto Martinez is the front runner for the job next season. Well, funnily enough, around about it was about an hour or so ago, there was an article in one of the mainstream media papers talking about Martinez, and bookies have slashed their odds on Martinez to become the next Celtic manager. Portugal boss stormed into second favourite on the first day of the 2026-27 season after a huge amount of money. Ooh, that's interesting. So the Martinez. Let me just get this up on the screen, because what we can do is we can take down that story. This is where it gets good. And then we can update with this story. Oh, no, do that. Now this is next level stuff. There we go. And then we should have the updated story about the fact that Roberto Martinez looks like that he could be the next Celtic manager. The bookies have slashed the odds on Roberto Martinez becoming the next permanent manager. The Portugal boss has stormed into second favourite to be the hoops in the hoops post on the first day of the 26-27 season, after there was a big pot of cash put on him being the manager. Bookmaker Coral this afternoon slashed the odds on Martinez from 2-1, from 25-1. He was 25-1 to become the next Celtic manager after Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill is priced at evens. Now, it's ridiculous that the bookies are even placing bets on Martin O'Neill being the next Celtic manager, because Martin O'Neill's come out and said, no matter what happens this season, no matter what happens with Celtic going forward, he could win the double this year. He could get us to the Europa Cup final again as Celtic manager. We pray to the man upstairs for that one. But even if that did happen, Martin O'Neill has said there is absolutely no chance of me staying on as a manager next season. Big shout out to Danny Cassie for another super chat. 708 comments. Roberto Martinez would get us back to playing proper football, but would the board fully back him? That's the big one. Would the board back Martinez? His favourite number 2 is already in post at Celtic. Sean Maloney and him worked together for a number of years. And if we're going to get bands back together, that's probably one of the biggest one that you could get back together, isn't it? It's very true. I think he got Belgium's 4th rated in the world. Yes, he did that. He was fantastic as Belgium manager. And he's not been so good maybe as Portuguese manager. I think he was better at Belgium than he was in Portugal. Scotty boys in the house. And what if Martinez does well with Portugal? He'll be able to pick his team in the top 5 leagues. But his missus is Scottish, isn't she? And what if she goes, do you know what, mate? Do you know fancy just going, like, spending 4 years in Scotland? 3 years. We'll give it 3 years, maybe 4. See a bit of the country, the lovely rain, the grey skies for 350 days of the year. It's a lovely place. We've got the Highlands and stuff, but and then there's a 2-week period around about June, July, sometimes the fair fortnight in Glasgow, that the sun pokes out and goes higher. You never know. You never know. It could happen. Never say never. Loved watching the Belgium team when Martinez was there. The board don't fully back anyone. That's a lie, because they 100% backed Wilfred Nancy. He asked for he asked for one player and he got one player. He just never seen the player play. Well, he did. He brought him on for 20 minutes. So Wilfred Nancy got 100%, but he must be the only manager. That'll be a pub quiz question one day. Who was the only manager to be backed 100% by the Celtic board? Jock Stein? Nah, that wasn't Jock Stein. Folk will be quizzing and they'll be like, 20 years' time, there'll be geezers in pubs, if there's any pubs left in the UK, because the pubs are closing at a rate of not. So it maybe be online podcasts that are doing the Celtic quiz, and it'll be what manager was given 100% backing by the Celtic board. And the answer would be Wilfred Nancy. He asked for one player, he got one player in, and then he was sacked. But anyway, we move on with that. I've said for ages I take Martinez. I've always thought that we could get him, but would he come to Celtic? Would he ultimately come to Celtic? That's the big question. But the Sean Maloney factor. Celtic have got a fantastic habit over the years When they brought in Gordon Strachan, it was one of the worst kept secrets in Scottish football. Everyone knew for about a year before that Gordon Strachan was going to be the next manager after Martin O'Neill. Celtic tend not to do anything apart from Wilfred Nancy um, that kind of shocks the world of football. You could say that Ange Postecoglou was that one that maybe shocks world football. You know, who's this guy Ange Postecoglou? But over the piece, over the last 25 years, Celtic have kind of never deviated away from a certain, you know, they know the next manager that's going to come in. And it's all about a question of timing. Now, this goes back to an interview by Dermot Desmond. Dermot Desmond said in an interview years ago that replacing the manager mid-season or three-quarters away through a season was never a good idea because it's really difficult to try and get your ideal candidate at that moment. Hence the reason I think that the club took a short-term view when they picked Wilfred Nancy and thought, right, but this is a guy that we can get in. He could potentially he could have us playing for good football. Potentially he's done it there about with clubs. He's won things, ticks all the boxes that Dermot and Co would look at when it was handed to them. The dossier from Paul Tisdale, who's now been sacked. But I've always said the fact that when Darren O'Day went to Swansea as assistant manager, and Celtic were quite quick to bring in, it was almost immediately that they brought in Sean Maloney. And everyone just thought, yeah, that's a good position for him. And I said at the time, what on earth is Sean Maloney doing as a pathway manager when he's been his own first choice manager? He's been an international assistant coach. He's got the CV. Perfect. We'll adjust it tomorrow. Perfect. Oh, there's a bit of chat about the Bologna tickets. Bologna away. That'll not affect too many on this channel because they'll not be going to Bologna away. Anyway, let's get back to no way Martinez is going. What a load of pish. His next job will be one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. The board always back managers. The recruitment department that has recently clocked up. Yes, is this. Maloney will persuade Martinez. Yes, that will get us back on track. Maloney is. He is the little silver beaded necklace that comes in with luck, a luck charm. He is the little bit of, yeah, do you want to come back and work together? You never know. Schmeichel's current condition shows his commitment to Celtic and country is shit. Backwards Celtic? Yeah, no shit, Charlotte. Wouldn't they want Martinez, to be honest? Who's taking over Tisdale's post? Um, James Bell Walker has taken over Tisdale post, not as head of football department, but it looks like he has been the man that was brought in by Celtic to take over recruitment department. And he was brought in before Tisdale left, which Tisdale knew the writing was on the wall. I think that Tisdale definitely knew that the writing was on the wall. Then makes common sense. Martinez for the job. Sean is assistant. Eventually, Maloney becomes manager. A few years down the line, why not then Maloney now? Then why not have Maloney now as manager? Just cut out the wages to Martinez. Have Maloney. Have Fozzie. It could be a good shout, but I think that it does make sense. Does make sense, but we'll wait and see. Johnny Kidney wouldn't get a game for 4A Division 3 team, says Stephen. But he scored in Europe, albeit the Conference League, for Sligo Rovers. You've got to cut Johnny Kenny a bit slack. Got to cut him a little bit slack. The board are all backwards. Just as Martinez would be great if we were backed with key players. Right, talking about Martinez, could Martinez come in and shop in the market? I'm not too sure, mate. I thought he could have been his replacement. But it looks like Bill Walker with his CV is taken over from. See, Celtic don't tell us because Celtic don't put these kind of announcements. That's a bit of an insult to John Paul Dykes because James Walker is a bit chubbier. That's all I'm saying. Um, he does good on South Park. Because saw Rogers and Kenny did you fourth against that Green Face whatever it was. Martinez, can he shop in the bargain basement window that Celtic Football Club will now find themselves in? That is the big question because Martinez and Maloney will not get to spend £20 million per player, 30 million and above, top level player stuff that you've got at the likes of Portugal. But then again, can he turn our very own Portuguese superstars? Can he turn Jota into the superstar that we all thought that he could go on to be? Can he turn around the career of Paulo Bernardo? And will Paulo Bernardo even still be at the club the time that the new manager comes in? Because if I'm Paulo Bernardo, you're sitting thinking, here's another new manager. I've been through quite a few managers now at this club and I'm still not getting first team pick. I'm not even getting, hardly any game time. There's not many continental players will want to sit on their arse at Celtic for 3 seasons and do absolutely nothing. And I think that we're in grave danger of losing Paulo Bernardo this summer, especially if we go and bring in another manager that goes. I mean, Martinez might not fancy Paulo Bernardo, and he'll be like, "Yeah, I seen you coming through the youth system, mate. It's this, it's maybe he might not even like Jota. You never know. You never know. He looks like the Dan Young Sheldon. We moved Mikey Johnson on, and he's not improved. Mikey Johnson was never going to improve. Let's face it. Baz, he won the FA Cup at Wigan, mate, with shite players. True. True. Could he get us into the Champions League, though? Do you know, winning the FA Cup sometimes just relies on luck more than anything, especially in England, because especially in England. Look, Martin O'Neill won the FA Cup. Brendan Rodgers won the FA Cup. There was only Martin O'Neill that did anything really respectable in a European context. When you look at Brendan Rodgers winning the FA Cup at his time in England didn't do him wonders for European football. Martinez, on the other hand, I mean, I don't believe that we're talking about this, but I mean, it is kind of noteworthy, so that's the reason that we're talking about it. Martinez is a manager who has a European pedigree experience. Hence the reason that he could be a good fit for Celtic, and the fact that it could be a good fit for does he bring on younger players? Because he needs to rebuild everything. He needs to rebuild everything. The next manager. So, but anyway, we'll wait and see. Tisdale must have helped him at Wigan, so there's hope so. He relegated Wigan. He's a chancer. Okay, he relegated Wigan. Kyogo Furiashi has not been able to score goals the way that he was since his day back in Celtic, but a lot of Celtic fans want him back. And talking about that, the poll tonight, the poll tonight has had 663 votes. It's a good poll tonight, but it is still the yeses are only on 44%, and the no's are on 56%. Is Kyogo a good? Is Kyogo the answer for Celtic? No, is it 56%? Yes, is it 44? I'm surprised it's so high. To be honest, I am surprised it's so high that. Wonder if I make that a little bit. If I make it smaller, it will no show up on the screen. Maybe need to change the background. But anyway, we are going to try and get to 700 votes. We are at 669 votes, 670. So if we can get another 30 votes, we'll shut that poll down. There has been over 3,000 people online tonight. It's a pity that we didn't have a lot more votes. Give us an indication how some fans really think. But the bookies have tonight sloshed the odds on Roberto Martinez becoming the next permanent manager at Celtic. If McGregor's offered 100k a week tax free, he wouldn't turn it down. That's an interesting one. You were talking about recruiting lower value players. That's I said. That's the way that Celtic will go in the transfer market from now on. I think our top, we're not going to pay more than £5 million for a player anytime soon. Anytime soon. The days of us spending more than £6 million a player, I think personally, have walked out the door. Martin O'Neill said that we're not going to be breaking any transfer records. He knows how much money he has to spend, and he'll know that he'll need to get a number of players in on that budget for transfer fees only. And I think that we just need to wait and see. It's all about just waiting and seeing. The other thing that Henrik Show highlighted was how they rated Lubo. Yeah, Lubo was just a gift from God, wasn't he? Baz Martin won the Big Cup twice, Nottingham Forest. Yeah, but that was as a player. That was as a player. What Martin O'Neill is hilarious because there are players at the club that know kind of Martin O'Neill. They know he was a Celtic legend and he got them to Seville and all the rest of it. But was it not the FA Cup? What cup was? What one was it? The one Martin won then. Paul. Choked up to anything tonight. Kyogo deal was happening. It would have been done by now. I think that it's because Kyogo doesn't want to come back. There is a bit of speculation that Kyogo does not want. And then Chris Sutton's been talking about it. Chris Sutton's been warning about bringing Kyogo back. Look, if Kyogo Furiashi needs convinced that to come back to Celtic, if he needs convinced one iota that coming back to Celtic is the right thing, he is not the right player. That's all I'm saying. And it just shows you that Kyogo would rather sit on the bench down in Birmingham rather than come back to Celtic and try and win a few medals. We are on 697 votes. I'm watching the votes because I want to slam the poll shut at 700 votes. Is Kyogo the answer? 44% still say yes. 56 still say no, and that's us bang on. Oh wait, don't tell me that went to no. It's on bang on 700. There we go. If he needs convinced, drop it. That's what I think. I think that Kyogo Furiashi, if he needs anyone to 56% are clueless. If anyone um, needs convinced to come to Celtic to potentially try and win a medal or two. There's a chance that you could come back to Celtic, and or you could come anyone, not just Kyogo Furiashi. You could come to Celtic and you could potentially win two medals. In your football career, there are very, very few players that win two medals in the entirety of their footballing career. The percentage that actually win nothing, that have a football career where the best thing that they win is a man of the match medal, maybe player of the month. But the percentage that do not win a championship league winners medal, be it in lower leagues, be it in English Premier League, be it in the Scottish Premier League. I mean, you could go through players that have went through their entire career in Scottish football and never won a thing. But if you've got the chance to come to Celtic for not even 6 months now, it's talking about 4.5 months. You've got the chance to come to Celtic for 4.5 months to try and win a couple of medals. If you're not willing, and if you're not playing for your current team, if you're not willing to go, do you know what? I'd have some of that. I'd have some of that tomorrow. We are not the club for you, and yes, it all reeks of desperation. It does. Baz, question is not well phrased. May I have influenced return? I don't think so. I don't think so. It was an easy yes or no question. Easy yes or no question. I'm going to jump through this because there's been over 1,094 comments this quick hour on this nice little channel that we have that is sitting at 24,846. We need 150 odd subscribers to hit 25k. Can we get to 25k in the next week? That's my pledge to you, Celtic fans. That's just subscribe to the channel. Let's get us to 25k. I did want to do it before the end of the transfer window. We're going to smash that well before the transfer window. We're going to hit 25k. Thank you to every single one of you that has subscribed to the channel. Thank you to every single one who had their say on tonight's vote. No to Kyogo. What's your alternative, troops? That's one thing that it's not so much the Celtic fans need to think about, but the Celtic hierarchy. And they need to start putting forward players to the manager that are worthy of being at Celtic. Because right now, over the last couple of transfer windows, there have been players that have came into the club that are absolutely were never good enough for the club. But some manager had to just play them. Anyway, on that note, it's been absolutely fantastic to have you this evening. I hope you like the new layout. It will change on a daily basis, depending on which player that we highlight. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans. Evening, wherever you are. And a big shout out to the top club, the top supporters club in Europe for Celtic, coming out of Oslo. And of course, it's only the top club because of its geographical placement in Europe. See you in the morning.